Hey everyone, hi everyone. Oh my god, that's a good start, isn't it? Hi, I was going to say everyone and everybody, and it kind of went to everyone. I might start using that, everyone. That's not terrible. Okay, take two. Hi, Jenny, charge the globe. Okay, today I'm going to show you how to use Rome2Rio. If this is the first video that you've ever watched from me, obviously from my weird accent, I'm Australian. I don't think you should have too much trouble understanding me. I can get a little bit excitable and speed up a bit, but normally it only goes for a sentence or two, and I realise what I've done and slow down. Okay, housekeeping item number 2 is I yawn, and when I talk it gets worse. I'm not tired, I'm not bored, I just yawn. I do it all the time. So I apologise up front, and there's no way you're going to escape this video without at least half a dozen yawns. So I apologise. I've actually even thought of getting like some kind of weird voiceover thing for my movies, but that's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm just going to yawn and be done with it. Okay, alright, moving on. Rome2Rio. Okay, now this website is fantastic. It is one of my favourite things on the planet. Let me just move that up a bit. Okay, it is basically a website that can give you directions and options on how to get from A to B. Now, your A and your B can be supremely specific. Okay, you don't just have to go from, New York to the Hamptons, for example, New York to East Hampton. You can actually put in an address. So you can put in your address in Park Slope, in Brooklyn, in New York State to go to, Ocean Road. Who am I kidding? I'm never going to be staying on Ocean Road in East Hampton. But anyway, Ocean Road, East Hampton, whatever state that's in. I think it's still New York, but I'm really not sure. So you can be super specific. Okay. Now the website, the URL is actually Rome2Rio, Rome2Rio.com. You can get this as an app as well. It's available on iPhone and Android. I have Android and it works brilliantly. I love it. But obviously for teaching purposes, much easier to use a website. Okay, so when you start, it's automatically detecting that I'm near Baton Rouge in Louisiana, which I actually am at the moment. So it's only doing this because I have location enabled. So I have my Google location enabled and my laptop as well. So it's detecting that. If you didn't have that, it probably wouldn't. It does this really funky thing that actually gives you a new destination every time. So if I refresh this page, I know you can see it's from Forbidden City in China, and the reason it's gone back to Heathrow is because that's where I was searching from last time. Let's have one more go. Dublin, Ireland. Okay. So it just kind of picks random things. So that it's not actually telling you have to go there, which is not a terrible thing, but it does just randomize that until you search. Okay, so now being very specific, what I'm actually going to do is do a real search that I need somewhere that I actually need to be. Now I have booked a flight leg for this only because I do all my flights on points if I can. So of course you have to book it 47,000 months out, or you end up going by a whoop past Timbuktu to get there. So I've actually booked my flight leg, so I'm not going to make any bookings today, but I'm going to do the search for the whole leg like I did to kind of get my flight. Okay, so my challenge is I'm flying into London, into Heathrow on the 7th of September. I arrive at 10:20 in the morning off an international flight, and I need to be in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France as quick as I can. Now the reason I'm got time constraints this time is because I'm walking the Santiago de Camino, but I'm actually meeting my sister along the way. She has limited time because of her holidays, so I kind of have only got about 8 days, I think, to before I have to meet her, and I've got to get as far as I possibly can in that 8 days, so that by the time she meets me, we have enough time to comfortably do the walk, have a couple of days here and there if we want, and have a few days at the end to hopefully have a little bit further look around Spain. But anyway, that's what I want to do. So what I'm actually going to search for here is I'm going to search from Heathrow Airport, because I land into Heathrow, and ideally, even though I have actually, like I say, already booked this flight leg, if I hadn't, ideally I would want to fly out of Heathrow on the same day, as close as I can get, and then whatever other transportation options I have after that. If I just typed London in there, Rome2Rio would assume that I was leaving from central London. So I'm sure most of you know, but every single city on earth actually has a central point. It's often the post office, the main post office. However, if it's not the post office, it does have a central point. Could be a train station sometimes, things like that. So if I just typed London in there, it would assume that I was leaving from central London. So it would actually give me those extra legs to get back out to the airport again, for example. So, it's true. The Saint Jean de Pierre de Port. That's it. And I'm just going to get bashed in French because my accent is terrible. I mean, I can't speak French, but I can't even speak English with a French accent, so it's all going to go horribly wrong. Okay, alright. So, now that we're into here, we can see on the right hand side we have a map which is actually going to show us our legs. And on the left side over here comes the yawn. Excuse me. On the left side over here, each of these portions, I guess segments, is actually a different option for us. So we have all these options down here, all these ways that we can get from London, from Heathrow to St John. So this isn't like the first leg, second leg, third leg. This is one option. So this particular one, it's saying I fly from Heathrow to Biarritz and then I get a train. So it's just saying Biarritz and a train. So it might be more than one train leg, but it's just saying, and you can see here, I could get a little green symbol for the plane and the train. This one I could fly to Bilbao, and then I could do a bus and a train as well. This one is trains and a plane and trains, and that's obviously going to another airport in London. This is just the train, and the fact that that is just a train, that means I can get that all the way from Heathrow. Now, if I didn't have any time constraints, the train is what I would normally pick. It's normally much more affordable than any other option. It's really, really comfortable. You just kind of sit back, read your book, gaze out the window. You know, it's lovely. You know, there's facilities, there's food, and while the food isn't fantastic, you know what, you're on a train. It's not like you're walking 15 k's a day, not like you need to eat a heap of food. So I could get the bus, the ferry, and the train, just the bus, or excuse me, or I could drive with the ferry. So you can just see these little logos are our mode of transportation. So obviously the grey's a car, blue's a boat, orange is the bus, purple's a train, and this Colgate green is to fly. Okay, so what it also does is it actually sorts these by what it considers are your best options. Now for me, I think it's probably being very aware of how I've travelled the last kind of year or so. So it's possible that it's putting the driving at the bottom because I pretty much never drive anywhere. Every time I search in here, I'm always searching for flights and trains and buses and what have you. So that it's possible that that's what it does that, or it may just put the car at the bottom. I'm really not sure. But what it does do is put what it considers to be the best option for you at the top. Now, you can see this is 4 hours and 58 minutes, and you're thinking, oh, okay, I arrive into Heathrow at 10:20, even if the flight's at 1, you'll be there by 6, beautiful. That is actually, this time assumes that every single thing connects and every single thing goes to plan. Okay, so if you hover over this time, you'll see it'll break it down. So see now, it's broken it down to 3 hours, 34 minutes, plus an hour, 24 for transfer. So it's saying your actual travel time is 3.5 hours, and your transit time is an hour and a half. Again, that's assuming that you're literally landing, getting off, getting on, getting off, getting on, all the way. Which is wildly unrealistic. So that's my only really challenge with this is, yes, it does show you how to get from A to B perfectly. Like any travel, it takes time to plan travel. It's really a time-consuming option. I've had travel take me longer to plan it almost than it has to actually do it, just because you've got to get the connections, you've got to make sure you're actually in the same station, and what other platform do you get to, what platform do you arrive into, what platform do you leave from, and all this kind of stuff. So and it may not even be in English, so it is time consuming. You have to accept that fact. The other option, it says now, let me go on from here. And the prices here, it says between $109 and $491 for the entire journey. Okay. Now, again, those prices are based on what it's grabbing from everything that the services companies have on the website. So that's from the train providers, that's from different flight providers, it's from the bus companies, it's from whatever prices they are providing. So this is my only comment here, is don't hold Rome2Rio to task for something that other companies are doing. For example, here's a big one. A lot of the web companies, like not necessarily the direct flight companies, I'm sure they do it, but a lot of the Webjet, the Expedia, Trivago, all of these, they actually advertise prices that is the best possible price that they have for that journey. Now, considering this is a flight, it probably doesn't include luggage. It probably is no meals. It's possible there's no taxes based on what country the company is based in. I know in Australia now flights have to include taxes, but a lot of countries they still don't. So as a US flight, for example, it might say $199 for the flight. There might be no bag. They might have no taxes. They might not have the airport fees. There's all sorts of stuff that could add up after this. So while this is a range, and these prices, this range is literally reflected by just simple things like that more popular times of the day the flights are more expensive, holidays are more expensive and all that kind of stuff. But these prices Rome2Rio is getting from third-party providers, so please don't hold them to task for the nasty tricks that other providers do, because you will see it, without a doubt. You will see it happens. So this looks like the best options to me. So to begin with, I'm going to have a look at this. So I click this and out pops an actual, now this is an actual breakdown of each leg. So now it's saying I can fly from London to Biarritz, which is an hour and 50. From Biarritz to Bayonne I can get the train, which is 25 minutes. And from Bayonne to St John I can get, that was the bus, I can get the train an hour and 19. Okay. And it's broken down. You can see the prices for each leg. It's kind of broken down a bit there as well. Okay, let's look at the flights first, because I need to make sure I can get out the same day. Okay, and it's at this point that you put your date in. So this is particularly as well why these prices are a range, because at this point you haven't nailed down a date. So obviously if you're flying a busy business route at 7 o'clock on a Monday morning, it's going to be much more than a Wednesday at 2:30 in the afternoon, kind of thing. So this is where you nail down both your dates and your prices. Okay, so I'm going to go one way, and I'd like to do it the same day. So the 7th. Now, like I say, I have actually already booked this flight, so I'm actually wondering if the flight I've booked is going to be available, because it was a direct flight. I don't know whether they're still going to be available. Oh, look there, yep, there's some there. Okay, now the reason this is in US dollars is because I don't have any settings. I'm using Microsoft Edge for this. I normally use Chrome for everything, but I'm just using Edge because apparently it's Rome2Rio's preferred browser, which I thought was weird. And it's US dollars, obviously, because I'm in the US. So, but what it will do is these settings up here is you can say it's US dollars English. You can change that to whatever you want. I often have it in Australian dollars just because it's more relevant to me. It actually makes more sense. But whatever you've chosen, it means that all your prices are going to be in that currency. So it's going to show me, sorry, if I just go back here, one more. All these prices are here. They're all in the same currency. So it's just easier for you. So, like once, obviously that could be in pound, that could be in euro, and that would probably be in euro as well. That would mean I have to kind of be calculating what adds up to what and blah, blah, blah. So whatever settings you've got here, it shows you all of them. Now, when you click through and actually get to the website, the actual website of the company, that's probably different. But this is just Rome2Rio making it easy for you. So it's all relevant. So you can see exactly how much stuff is. Sorry, so let's just go back this one step. So the 7th, one way, yep, find flights. Okay, so I land at 10:20 International Airport. I've already researched. It's probably going to take me, the most it could take me to get from, assuming my terminal depth of arrival and departure are the furthest apart that you could possibly be, it could take me 40 minutes to get from one terminal to another. The train, I think, takes 15 minutes, and 20 minutes, only comes every 15 minutes or something like that. So I know that I've got, apart from my standard 3-hour change, I need to add another half an hour to that, just to make sure that I've got enough time to change flight. Okay. Alright, so, and these are just my timing rules. If my plane's late, if, my bag gets held up, if, there's a huge line at customs, or, whatever it is, trust me, I'm not missing a connection. I'd rather, spend an hour or two wandering around the airport, buy myself an $8 coffee. I'd rather that than blow a $200 flight. So I'm crazy with times. I'd rather wait than rush, so I don't do rushing. It just doesn't work for me. Okay, so this is actually perfect timing, and this is actually the flight I'm already on. So but I can leave Heathrow at 4:25, get into Biarritz at 7:15. Okay, so perfect. And this is, you can pretty much trust this as gospel, as with availability. These little links down here, this is showing you the companies that actually have it. Okay, so have this fare available. So if you click on that, you can see it's showing you the British Airways fare, which is $99 US. And then you can see GoGate's got it for $101, Explore's got it for $114, Flight Network, let's have a go, Flyfar, SkyTours. Okay, so you can see it's kind of going up and down. But BA, it's a BA flight, and BA have it for $99. That's actually fairly rare. Weirdly, often these third-party companies seem to have it for a better price, but like I say, select them and drill all the way through and actually make sure what you're paying for is what you're getting, because that's the only thing in here, is the price that these companies provide aren't necessarily based on the same thing. $99 from British Airways may or may not include bags. Maybe this $147 from SkyTours includes a bag, but you're not going to pick that because it's $50 more. But if I click through to British Airways, you might find that I then have to add a bag. So, you just have to be a little bit aware about these things. So at that point, that's what I do. I'd select this, which will always open up in a new tab. Okay, so that's really, really handy. So everything you have here stays here. You're still at the same search point in Rome2Rio. It's just opening up a new window. And you can see it's diverting, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so straight away, so this is, you can see now this is in pounds, because this has gone to British Airways website. So no longer, this doesn't have anything to do with Rome2Rio anymore. This is you get your own bag, whatever. Now, again, I've already researched this and I already know, but this baggage allowance here, if I click that, it's going to see this fare is a hand baggage only fare, which is why it was cheap. So that's why it was cheap. I also have investigated that to buy a bag. You can't buy a bag as part of this purchasing process with British Airways. You have to buy it at the airport. I hate this new rule they're all introducing. It just sucks. I've just been smacked in the States a few times. But a lot of them do that because, you know what? You're at the airport, you got your bag, what are you going to do? Leave it there? No, you're going to pay the $40 they want you to pay to take the damn bag on. So in Australia, I don't know whether it's legislation or it's just standard, but you can buy like a carry-on only, we call it carry-on, a carry-on only fare, and then as part of the checkout process you can add a bag. Okay, but I've already looked, you can't do that with BAs, you can't do it with a lot of flights in the US. However, as I scroll up here, you can see the flight I've selected, this one, has no bags. It says for a fee, but you can't do it in the process. I've already investigated. The cost to take a bag from Heathrow into a European country is £30, which is about 60 Australian dollars, which is dead set criminal, but you know what, it's £30. But I can upgrade to this flight, adding $18 and getting a bag. So that's the better option for me. So that's exactly what I did. So I picked this flight, and you can see I get one checked bag. I only have one bag I need to check, so that's fine. So you can see that's the way you can go through the flights. And the other thing to consider with your flights here, oh sorry, just scroll down too far there, is that, okay, that's 99, this one's 167. Now it's sourced by cheapest by default. At the moment it seems that the direct flights are mostly the cheaper flights. which is good. So it used to be kind of the other way around, because the airlines used to try and, you know, send you on 2 different legs, but it was $200 cheaper, so you kind of went, oh, well, I don't care. But everyone's in a rush these days, so I guess so. The direct flights are coming to be cheaper. So there's another one, 6:15, that doesn't suit me. There's one at 7:20, but look, 17 hours, so it's got an overnight stop there somewhere. This one's 8:30, but since 16 hours, 2 stops. 12:10, too early. You know, there's one 5:50, but again, 2 stops, 16-hour flight. That's not going to work. So this one here is the one I would have picked. But you can see, you know, I can have options. I can drill down. I can change the departure time if I want. Now, the biggest thing you need to remember with airlines is they love the 5-2 the hour, or actually, no, let me explain that better. They love 5 minutes before or after the hour, and 5 minutes before or after the half hour. So this is just a general tip, I guess. Any of these travel sites that you're searching, if I've worked out, okay, I'll get in 10:20, so around 2 would be an ideal flight. Always make that 1, because they love to have flights that leave at 5 to 2, or, you know, like 2:05, or, you know, whatever. But if I'm kind of, everyone rounds to an hour, 10, you know, when you're searching for stuff. But if you do that often, you can miss a flight that's 5 to 2. 5 to 2 would be perfect. But if I put 2 o'clock, I won't see that flight. So you just have to kind of think about stuff like that. But that's what you can do. So you can narrow down like departure times, what have you know, you can change it to be by arrival time. You can you know, select or deselect airport stopovers, you know, all that kind of stuff. So you can search all that. Okay, so I've got that flight. So, and that actually does get into 7:15 to Biarritz. Okay, so I'm getting into Biarritz at 7:15, and now I've got to get to St. John's. So this one is from Biarritz to Bayonne. Okay, so departs. Okay, so I can get a bus from the airport directly. Perfect. And you look at this map, that's not far. I'm not going far there. So I'm guessing the bus is just for the airport to Bayonne. This is probably like a bus into town, I'm guessing. And then there's the train. Okay, so let's have a look. So hang on a minute, let's have a look at the bus timetable. Okay, so straight away I can see this is a PDF. So this is actually a PDF copy of a timetable. Okay, so what I'm not going to do now, that's a big indication to me there. That's September the 8th. Oh, look at that, 14, September the 8th. Okay, what I was actually going to tell you is, never, if there is any travel website you find, if there's actually an interactive, you know, journey planner, like, you know, how do I get from A to B, always trust that over the PDFs. The PDFs, they never upload the PDFs religiously. They upgrade their main website, so your little journey planner with how do I get from A to B on this date always seems to be current information, current timetables. The PDFs are rubbish. Look at this. This was last uploaded on 8th of September 2014. So I am flat out not going to trust that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of all that and come back to the main website, and I hope they have a journey planner, which they do. Look at that. Okay, is there English anywhere? Here we go. Here's English. I need English because I can't speak French. Oh, I just had a big swig of my coffee and it's nearly cold. Okay, so I am Biarritz. Now the reason I'm putting Biarritz here, which I think I spelled that wrong, but anyway, doesn't seem to be actually finding. Okay, alright, doesn't go quite as far as I need, but the 7th, let me have a look. What date is the 7th in September? What day is that? Okay, it's a Wednesday. Alright, so I'm going to look for the Wednesday, the latest Wednesday I can, because the chances of the timetables changing is probably fairly slim. Okay, I'm going to choose Biarritz just because I don't know what the airport stop is called, and these kind of look like streets to me, and so I don't know what street the airport is on, so I'm just going to assume that is from, oops, sorry, what happened here? Ooh, I know where that came from. So that is actually going through the airport. Let me just have a look here. Let's see. Okay, there's Biarritz over there, and we're going to Bayonne. Okay, so the airport's what that looks like to be, maybe a quarter of a third of the way. And the reason I'm looking at this, I'm just trying to figure out the timetables here. Okay, so I need to, modify my search. I forgot to put the time in. And I want to go from, what did I say, 7:15 I land? So let's do 19:55. Because again, remember, 5:2. So this is a small airport. I'm landing. It's not an international flight. Well, I would assume going into the EU, it probably wouldn't be. Maybe I shouldn't make that assumption. So I land at 7:15. So I'm going to say let's start looking at about an hour to get my luggage and get out. So 8:19. So there's one, 8:19. Let's just have a look. 8:39, 20 to 10. Okay, alright, so they keep going. The buses keep going. Okay, so I can definitely get a bus. So that's no good. So let's just say I have an ideal situation and I get on the bus at 8:10. Now this is coming from Biarritz. I searched from Biarritz, so it's possibly not at the airport till 20 past, for example, but it's going to get into going at 8:40. Alright, so now I know I can do that leg. So now I need to find if I can get from Bayonne to Biarritz after 8:40 at night on the train. Thursday 7th. So what did I say? 8:40, 12. Let's look after 8, because I'm definitely not going to get there before 8 p.m. Just on the case again. So kind of 8:40. What if there's one at 8:35? No, see, 6 o'clock's the last one. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to get to St. John that night. So that's good. So I know that. So now I can make an educated decision. So now I know I can get as far as Bayonne, or I can stay in Biarritz. Okay, so I can stay in Biarritz or Bayonne, but I can get to one or the other. Now what I will probably do is I will go all the way to Bayonne, because I'm getting in the airport. I can get on the bus at the airport to get to Bayonne, and I've got to get to Bayonne to get on the train. So I've either got to pay for a hotel at the airport at Biarritz, which are always much more expensive than anything else, or I've actually got to pay to get myself into town, into the coast, and looking where Biarritz is, most of the accommodation is going to be on the coast, so it's not going to be cheap. So I've got to get into the coast, so it's a bus or a taxi, to get accommodation, a night's accommodation, get back on the bus in the morning. Now, fair enough, in the morning it looks like I can get from the centre of city out to Bayonne, but I don't know where the bus stop is in the centre of city, so I have to find that as well. So I'd have to research that, and then probably the evening before, or early the morning, leave way too early just to make sure I can find it okay. And that's just all too goddamn hard. So what I will do, as soon as I'm landing at the airport, I will get on the bus, I will go to Bayonne, and I will look for some accommodation near the bus terminal or near the train terminal in Bayonne. So you can see just from that, I've actually been able to work out, and that's probably almost as rural as you're going to go in Europe, I guess. So it's a small town from a major airport, and I've managed to work out my flight, what my travel options are, and I've actually worked out that it's pretty easy. So I'm going to get to Bayonne on the 7th, and then I can get the really early train to St. John, I'm assuming, which is probably maybe 6 or 7 o'clock to St. John. So I could actually start walking that day. So I could end up with kind of I've got one travel day anyway. I can end up with one big travel day, and then start walking the next day. Or if I'm knackered, I could decide I'm going to stay in St. John. So I hope that kind of helps to show you, what all your different options are. And again, like I say, everything that you kind of drill down forward on, it actually opens in a new tab. So you've got your current search still here, which is really, really handy. And that's it. And then you just, obviously you just, book with the providers. So it's pretty easy. So I hope you enjoy Rome2Rio and like it as much as I have. And I hope it helps you to get out there and be charging the globe. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my website, chargetheglobe.com, and YouTube for more videos. Okay, thanks.